All right, French learners, ready to unlock, like, a powerful level of fluency in French?
I think so.
Today's deep dive takes us right into the heart of French grammar.
Ooh, exciting.
Compound tenses.
I love those.
So, these are the verbs that pack a punch with an auxiliary verb and a past participle.
Exactly.
They're really important for expressing yourself with more nuance and a wider range of actions and time frames in French.
Yeah. And for anyone working towards that pronunciator certificate in compound tenses,
Ooh, yeah.
this is really your insider's guide.
Definitely. Think of us as your time-traveling companions.
Ooh, I like that.
Ready to demystify
Yes.
the passé composé,
Uh-huh.
the plus-que-parfait,
Yes.
and even the future perfect.
Ooh, time travel.
Okay, let's fire up our time machine and make our first stop, the passé composé.
Okay.
Now, this is your trusty everyday past tense, the one you'll use most often to talk about completed actions.
Right, she went, we saw, but instead of just one word, we need two parts, an auxiliary verb, either avoir or être.
Okay.
And the past participle of our action verb.
Right, the two-part harmony of the French past. But hold on.
Yeah.
How do we choose between avoir and être?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I remember stumbling over this a bit when I first started learning.
Oh, yeah, you and everyone else. But there's a cool mnemonic that might help. Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp.
Ooh, fun.
Imagine them always on some grand adventure using verbs like aller, to go venir, to come arriver, to arrive partir, to leave. All those verbs that involve movement or a changing state.
Ah, so those are the verbs that get the VIP treatment with être as their auxiliary.
Exactly.
Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp, always on the move.
I know, I love it.
I know, I love them. And to make things even more fun.
Okay.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp like to match their outfits.
Ooh, I like this.
So when you use être, the past participle has to agree in gender and number with the subject.
Yes.
So if a woman say, I arrived, it wouldn't just be je suis arrivé.
Right.
It would be je suis arrivé with that extra E for agreement. Like a stylish touch to complete the outfit.
Precisely. Now, for most other verbs, you'll use avoir as the auxiliary.
Okay.
And thankfully, the agreement rules are a bit more relaxed there.
Okay, so let's try it out. Think of something you did recently, something you'd want to tell a French friend about.
Okay.
Now try saying it in French using the passé composé.
Okay.
You're already time traveling like a pro.
I love it. So that's the beauty of the passé composé. It lets you effortlessly share your adventures.
Yeah.
But what if we want to talk about something that happened even before another event in the past? Like, imagine you're telling a story and you need to jump back to an earlier point in time.
Ooh, flashback moment. Okay, so we're going deeper into the past.
Yeah.
Is that where the plus-que-parfait comes in?
Exactly.
I always get a little intimidated by that one.
You're not alone. It's definitely a bit more complex, but think of it as the past before the past. It's for those actions that were already finished before something else happened.
So sticking with our time travel theme, it's like going even further back in time before our previous stop in the passé composé.
Exactly. It's like saying, I had eaten the cake before you arrived, or she had already left when I called. We're emphasizing that these actions were completely done before another past event.
Okay, I'm starting to see the distinction. So how do we build this time-bending plus-que-parfait?
Well, we need our trusty helpers, avoir or être, but this time we use them in the imparfait tense. Remember the imparfait? It's like setting the scene describing ongoing actions or states of being in the past.
Right, like it was raining or I used to play piano. So we're combining the scene-setting imparfait of our auxiliary verb with the past participle of our action verb.
You got it. And just like with the passé composé, if you use être, you need to make that past participle agree with your subject. Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp, always keeping things coordinated.
Okay, let's try it out with an example. Let's say I wanted to say I had finished my homework before I went to the cinema. How would that look in the plus-que-parfait?
That would be, j'avais fini mes devoirs avant d'aller au cinéma. See how avait fini paints a picture of that action being completely done before you headed off to the movies.
Ah, I see. It's all about creating a clear sequence of events. But wait, I remember hearing that the word si, meaning if, can sometimes throw a wrench into things.
That's a great point. You're right, si clauses can sometimes require the plus-que-parfait, even if you're talking about a hypothetical situation in the past.
Ooh, that sounds like a brain teaser. Can you give us an example?
Of course. Imagine you missed your train and you're thinking, if I had left earlier, I wouldn't have missed the train. In French, that would be, si j'étais parti plus tôt, je n'aurais pas manqué le train. Notice how we used the plus-que-parfait. était parti, even though it's a hypothetical if situation.
Wow, that is subtle. So even though it didn't actually happen, we still use the plus-que-parfait to emphasize that hypothetical action happening before the consequence of missing the train.
Exactly. It's all about creating that clear chronological order, even in hypothetical situations. Now, ready to jump ahead in time with the future perfect?
I am. I've got my time-traveling goggles on and ready to see what the future holds. But before we leap forward, I want to take a moment to appreciate the plus-que-parfait. It might seem tricky, but it's like a secret weapon for adding depth and detail to our French storytelling.
I completely agree. And remember, the Pronunciator app has tons of examples and practice exercises for the plus-que-parfait. So don't let it intimidate you.
All right, so we've explored the past with the passé composé and delved even deeper with the plus-que-parfait.
It's fun.
Now let's set our time machine for the future.
Ooh, I love it.
I'm ready to see what the future perfect has in store.
Me too.
What do you think?
Well, the future perfect is fascinating because it lets us kind of peek into the future.
Okay.
But with a twist, we're not just talking about any future action, but one that will be completed before a specific point in the future. It's like looking back from the future and saying, by that time, this will already be done.
So it's like setting a future milestone and looking back from that point to see what we will have accomplished. I like it. It gives a sense of anticipation and achievement.
Exactly. For instance, imagine telling someone by the time you arrive in Paris, you will have mastered French compound tenses.
Ooh la la.
It emphasizes that your mastery will be a done deal before your Parisian adventure even begins.
Okay, I'm getting the feeling, but let's break down the mechanics. How do we actually form the future perfect?
It's surprisingly straightforward.
Good.
We take the future tense of our good friends avoir or être and combine it with the past participle of our action verb. So it's like a fusion of future and past all in one verb.
So if we wanted to say, I will have finished the book by tomorrow, we'd say, j'aurai fini le livre demain. Right.
Perfect. You see how aurait fini emphasizes the completion of the reading before the deadline of tomorrow?
Yeah. This is really starting to click for me. So we've got our three compound tenses, the passé composé for everyday completed actions, the plus-que-parfait for that extra layer of past before the past nuance, and now the future perfect for talking about actions that will be wrapped up before a future point in time.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, just like you're doing right now, you can use these tenses to talk about your own progress with learning French.
Whoa.
For example, you could say, by the end of this pronunciator module, I will have mastered the future perfect.
Ooh, I love it. It's like setting a goal and using the grammar itself to visualize achieving it.
I know, right?
Speaking of pronunciator, I know they have some really helpful exercises and quizzes to help solidify these tenses.
Absolutely. The Pronunciator Library module is a fantastic resource for practicing and really mastering these tenses. And once you've aced the quiz, you can even earn a certificate to show off your French grammar skills.
I love it.
Okay.
Okay, so before we wrap up our time-traveling adventure through French compound tenses, any final words of wisdom for our fellow learners?
I would say don't be afraid to experiment and play around with these tenses. The more you use them, the more natural they'll become. And remember, even native speakers make mistakes. So be kind to yourself and enjoy the journey of learning French.
I love it. That's such great advice. And remember, the Pronunciator app is your trusty sidekick on this journey. It's packed with resources and support to help you conquer those compound tenses and unlock a whole new level of fluency in French. So keep practicing, keep exploring, and before you know it, you'll be effortlessly weaving these tenses into your conversations. Until next time, happy learning.
Au revoir.